Today I wanted to cover water as a topic. I'm often asked about water, hydration, where I get my water from, why I do what I do with my water, which I'll explain in a second. And so I wanted to cover this topic in a more succinct way. So I wanted to first start with water source, and then I think in another part I'll talk about how much water we should drink, maybe when, maybe the pH a little bit. We'll see what we can cover today. I've got 4 different categories here that we're familiar with: tap, distilled, reverse osmosis, and spring water. We all know what tap water is. It comes right to our homes. It's from the city. The city cleans it up. We all have a municipal water supply, and that water is delivered to us in a clean state that we pay our taxes for, and we're all appreciative of this. Distilled water is something that you can make by a steam process. I think that's the only way you can make distilled water. So it's the steam that is gathered from steaming the water, and what's left behind is all of the impurities as well as the minerals. So it's just H2O, which is 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. There's nothing else in there. It's just those 2 components. Reverse osmosis is similar to distilled water in that it is another process, but it doesn't take out everything that distilled water takes out. Spring water, we all know what spring water is. Most people think that it's, from a riverbed or something that you can go bathe in or something and go swim in. But actually there are some springs that come from far deep underneath the ground, and you can actually gather water that way too. And we know that this is true too because we can see the spring waters in the stores on the shelves. So of these 4 sources, let's talk about the pros and cons to both of them, to all of them. Tap water comes with a cost. It comes with a price. If you were to ingest tap water, you are trusting that the supply, that your city is supplying you with water that is 100% safe. Most cities will add fluoride to their water. I'll let you do your own research on fluoride. So that is going to be in your water. There's going to be a trace of chlorine in tap water because that's what they use to kill a lot of the microorganisms to make it safe. Chlorine ingested over a long period of time, in my opinion, is not safe. It can also alter your gut microbiome. Tap water also comes with, believe it or not, your neighbor's pharmaceuticals, whether it's in the form of throwing things down the drain or whether it's in the form of urine. Again, tap water is actually recycled water, which we need to have in order to be able to have a supply of water for everybody within a big city. But the processes that the municipalities use does not take out the pharmaceuticals. So that water is going to contain birth control medications, antidepressants, pain medications, who knows what else. Let's take distilled water next. Distilled water, like I said earlier, is only H2O. Therefore, it's going to be void of all minerals. There's no minerals in distilled water. It's absolutely stripped. Tap water is going to have some minerals in there. The 2 most likely occurring minerals are going to be magnesium and calcium in water that we're going to find in a natural source. What happens with distilled water when you ingest it is water has this quality about it that it wants to be mineralized. It wants the electrolytes. And so if it doesn't, it's going to grab whatever minerals and electrolytes that it can find. So if we're drinking it, that means that it's going to be trying to alkalize itself by taking out the minerals in your body, the minerals that you need, because that's just how water works. By the way, I guess I'll get into this now. The pH of water, well, okay, pH of anything, but the higher the number of a pH, that means the more acidic, the more alkaline it is. I do get these mixed up sometimes. The lower the pH, the more acidic the substance is, in this case water. So when you're distilling water, and by the way, minerals in water make it more alkaline. It's minerals that make it alkaline. Distilled water is not alkaline. It's more on the acidic side because it has no minerals in it. It also doesn't have any pharmaceuticals in it, like tap water does. However, so there's pros and cons to distilled water. You know you're not getting chlorine, you know you're not getting fluoride, you know you're not getting pharmaceuticals, but you're also not getting minerals. Reverse osmosis is similar to distilled. It also is going to be void of minerals. And so it is also going to be slightly on the acidic side. Reverse osmosis will take out fluoride, will take out chlorine. I believe it takes out pharmaceuticals as well. And these are kind of nice because if you live in a bigger city, like I do, you can find little kiosks. Ours are in Whole Foods, Sprouts, that will offer these two options for like 40 cents a gallon. So if you're somebody that didn't want to consume tap water, you could easily find distilled, I forget what they're calling this right now in the stores. It says similar to distilled water. It doesn't come to me right now. But for sure, reverse osmosis you can find. Let's go down to spring water. So spring water is water that's going to be coming from underground. It could, depending on the depth of it, it's considered a well or a spring, I believe. And that is not recycled water. It has not been distilled. It has not been filtered in any way. It's just pure spring water. So what you find with most spring waters is that it is an alkaline source of water. Depending on how many minerals are in it, what the concentration is, it's going to depend on how alkaline it is. Spring water, if you think about it, because it's coming from deep inside the earth, has not been to the surface of the earth as of yet. So it hasn't touched any of the pollutants that we have in our modern society. So it's probably, if you think about it, the cleanest, purest thing that you will ever touch, if not the most. I can't think of anything else that's going to be more pure than a true spring water. If you were to drink spring water, especially on a regular basis, that means that you would be getting the purest food ever that you're ever going to touch in your entire life. I think that's pretty special. Now, you can find spring water. You might say, yeah, but I can find spring water in the stores. They sell them right on the shelves. Bottles, 1 gallon containers. A lot of times, those spring waters are not fresh out of the ground. They have filtered them. They have ultra filtered them. And so what that means is the minerals that were there naturally are no longer there. So now you're getting a water that's slightly acidic. I'm going to talk about pH more in just 1 second. But now you're getting a water void of minerals. And so aren't you better off with tap water then? And maybe you have a little filter at home that will take out the chlorine and the fluoride. Perhaps that's a better option than spending more money on bottled spring water than using the water from your tap and filtering out what you are not comfortable with. So, oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, I think there was something else. Those bottles that you see, that you find, and that many people buy, how long do you think that that water has been sitting in those containers? Don't you think they've been in a probably pretty warm truck, sitting and sitting and sitting? Why is that a problem, you might ask? Well, plastics can leach into water. Water is a solvent, and especially water that's been stripped of minerals, and the charge, the electrical charge, is not what it's meant to be. It's going to want to leach things into it. So you're basically drinking plastic. And even if it's in a BPA-free container, which most of them aren't anyway, you're still leaching plastics. And if you look into that a little bit, you'll see that those are xenoestrogens. Almost every toxic compound is a xenoestrogen, which means it's a fake estrogen. It's estrogenic. And you might say, well, for some people that might be pretty good for menopausal women or something. Well, not really, because it's not real estrogen, so it doesn't act like real estrogen in the body. And you certainly don't want to be a male and throwing off your testosterone and estrogen balance, children being exposed to these xenoestrogens through not only just the water, but so many other things that we can't control. So maybe controlling the things that we can, like in this case, not drinking out of plastic, especially when it's been sitting and sitting and sitting for who knows how long, might be a good idea. So what I do is I actually gather my own spring water, because for me that seems to be the best option. Sometimes if I run out of spring water, I will go to the kiosk and I will get some distilled water, because that's been a long time used tactic for cleansing diets for a short term. Because not only will it take out, because it will take out some of the things, the bad things that you don't want in your body. It will help to cleanse you. Understanding that it will also take out some of the minerals from your bone, the alkalizing minerals from your bones. But it's, for a short period of time, it's been used as a tactic. But getting back to spring water, so I actually gather my own, I harvest my own spring water. I live about 2 hours away from a great spring in Sedona, Arizona. And I just make a day trip up there every couple, 3 months. And I fill up as many glass jars as I have, some in plastic. Bring that back home. Some of the plastics get poured out into ceramic or glass. And it lasts me, for a couple, 3 months. And the water there has been tested. People have been drinking that water up there for decades. And it's full of naturally occurring minerals. I have been told by certain specialists that I've seen that my hydration levels are excellent. By the way, let's talk about hydration for just 1 second, and what hydration is. We often hear, drink 8 glasses of water a day. We gotta drink 8 glasses of water a day, or drink half your body weight in water a day. Well, who said, who made this up? I can't find out who made that up, especially for the 8 glasses of water a day. I don't know who said that. I don't know if anybody knows who said that. So what is it based on? That's what you want to ask yourself. Where's the science behind that? I don't know. Now, I will say, half your body weight in water, if you're not eating a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, seems to come out to a pretty good amount for most people, especially if you're semi-active. However, when people say your body is 70% water, so just keep chugging it, the more water the better, that's not really true. We're not 70% H2O. We're 70% of an electrolyte solution. Our bodies are bathed in an electrolyte solution in water. So if we're constantly diluting that, and we're not taking in enough, especially if we're constantly diluting that with water that's not high in minerals, we're going to be diluting that, and guess what? We're not hydrated no matter how much we drink. Have you ever had that happen to you? You're just thirsty, or you just feel dry, your skin is dry, or you do the pinch test. You know, they tell you to do the pinch test, and if it stays up for a few seconds, your skin, you're dehydrated. Don't know how true that is, but it seems to be a good marker. So that's part of the reason why, is that you're low in minerals, and it could be that you're drinking too much, quote, dead water, water that has no life-giving minerals in it. It's just a thought. So I've put up this website here, findaspring.com. It's very helpful. It is a site that has been designed by Daniel Vitalis and is updated by We the Public. And what it is a map of the world, and it will show you where all of the springs are that people have pinpointed on that map. You can look at your state, and you can find where the springs are in your state. There's probably springs in your state that aren't even on the map yet, but I can almost guarantee that you will have a spring nearby, whether it's on the map or not. But you might be able to find a spring that's nearby your house, and so I would highly recommend you check it out, because that way, well, first of all, most of it's free. You can go there, it's open to the public. Some are harder to get to than others. The one in Sedona happens to be extremely easy. It's tapped, it's got 2 taps right on the side of the road. You can pull right over there. So depending on how hard they are to get to, for sure, it would depend how easy it is. But definitely worth the effort. Your body, again, is mostly mineralized water. So if you were just to change that one little thing about your diet, is drink a clean, living source of water, you might find that you feel a whole lot better. And it's something so easy to do. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and I think next time I'm going to be covering how much water you should drink, maybe when you should drink it, and some other minor details about water that I come up with. Thanks for watching. Terry Lynn with Live True Coaching.